Tonight on CTV, the Prove Me Wrong table event and how the tour continues to visit college campuses nationwide.
Then, the Charlie Kirk vigil that took place last Thursday.
Finally, the UFA debate that took place in the Lory Student Center. Good evening, Rams. My name is Madison Szpunar.
And I'm Gigi Bergh.
The UFA tour made a stop at Colorado State University, hosting a public debate on the plaza. Students and community members from both conservative and liberal perspectives shared their views on national issues. The event follows the late Charlie Kirk, who was fatally shot earlier this month, and his American Comeback tour, which also centered on political engagement on college campuses.
You stopped everything for me, loser!
The UFA tour brought its open debate format to CSU last Thursday, giving students a platform to directly question speakers on politics, policy, and campus concerns.
What we're here doing today is essentially honoring the spirit of what Charlie Kirk was doing by his college campus tours. We are having open debates and open discussion to show the importance and the necessity, in fact, of free speech. And it's really a great way to express ourselves, because I'm actually conservative, but a lot of members of the tour are actually quite liberal. So in fostering that spirit of free speech and fostering the spirit of free debate, people like myself and others are here having open conversations with college students.
Although the UFA tour comes to college campuses encouraging public debate, some CSU students found the event unsettling.
I think it's distasteful for the America tour to continue with this event after the passing of Charlie Kirk, just because their whole organization is founded around following Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA on campuses and bringing debate. It makes it seem as if Charlie Kirk had valid things to do.
Well, if I think it's distasteful, I mean, I can certainly understand where they're coming from, but it's very important to know that the UFA tour would not exist without Charlie Kirk. They are the direct counterpart and were formed as a direct counterpart to Turning Point. And so I think that their presence here is actually doing more to honor the spirit than it is to demean it by any stretch of the imagination.
As the tour continues across college campuses, organizers say their goal is to spark conversation and push students to think critically about issues shaping their futures.
As someone that wants to run for office very soon, that people take these conversations that I have with these students as a proof text of my genuine beliefs and what I stand for. So I think the only thing I want to gain is have people gain understanding.
Madison Szpunar, CTV Channel 11. The tour continues across college campuses nationwide, sparking conversations about America's political divide and encouraging students to engage with opposing views.
Last Thursday, Canvas Stadium hosted Turning Point USA for a vigil for Charlie Kirk, the conservative activist shot and killed by Utah Valley State University earlier this month. Thousands of people gathered to pay their respects to Kirk, as well as listen to keynote speakers discuss their thoughts on conservatism and freedom of speech in America. The plaza debates and the vigil for Charlie Kirk, the UFA tour wrapped up the day with the final event inside the LSC Grand Ballroom.
The UFA tour stopped at CSU on September 18th, drawing students, Fort Collins community members, and activists for a night of political debate and conversation. Hosted by National Ground Game, the event aims to bridge divides by inviting participants from across the political spectrum to share their views.
The right wing has had such a stronghold on the media infrastructure and on college tours and on our voter registration process for a long time. The Democratic Party, we're at least 15 years behind. And the problem is that right now we don't have any leadership. So what National Ground Game and the America Tour is trying to do is provide that leadership while also having a stronger media infrastructure and marrying that with a very aggressive ground game to win the midterm elections.
The event was held in order to foster a space for productive conversation. However, despite being marketed as such, much of the conversation became hostile, with some participants criticizing the language being used at the debate.
Honestly, I feel like the further it goes along, the more constructive it gets. Just because I'm someone who, there's a lot of people that scream on both sides, and it just doesn't do anything for actual debate. So I actually enjoyed this kind of the second half, because the first half was kind of filled with a lot of screaming.
Despite mixed opinions on how the night unfolded, the event had a large turnout with plenty of political discourse, civil or not.
With free speech remaining a hot-button issue in today's political climate, CSU has become a stage for debate, bringing together students and community members from across Fort Collins. Stay with us, Rams. We'll be back after the break with more campus news. Welcome back, Rams. I'm Gigi Bergh, filling in for Noelle Zellman. Tonight, we bring you a story that has been making headlines in the world of late-night television and politics. Jimmy Kimmel Live was recently pulled from air after a monologue about the fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk sparked controversy. Disney pulled Kimmel's show last week after the remarks sparked outrage from right-wing figures, advertisers, and even the FCC. Affiliates like Nexstar and Sinclair refused to air the program, citing his remarks as inflammatory. After nearly a week off the air, ABC brought back Jimmy Kimmel on Tuesday. Upon his return, Kimmel spoke about the importance of free expression and defended comedians' right to speak, emphasizing that attempts to silence commentary can undermine the idea of free press. In the midst of this, former President Donald Trump posted on social media saying, "I think we're going to test ABC out on this. Let's see how we do. Last time I went after them, they gave me $16 million. This one sounds even more lucrative." He also made other comments targeting Kimmel, which some have called controversial.
I was very surprised to hear that Jimmy Kimmel was being canceled because he didn't even say anything about Charlie Kirk, and that is infringing on free speech in America.
Media analysts say this incident highlights the complex relationship between political figures, media outlets, and entertainment commentators. It also spikes a wider discussion about the limits of expression, audience reactions, and how networks navigate political pressure. While debate over free speech spills into national media, students here at Colorado State University are navigating new campus guidelines designed to support expression and peaceful assembly. The policy clarifies how students, faculty, and visitors can use public forums like the Lory Student Center Plaza and outlines rules to prevent disruptive activities, violence, or damage to property. Students and groups must reserve space for events in advance, follow time, place, and manner restrictions, and coordinate with university staff and police when necessary. Commercial solicitations are limited, and non-public areas such as classrooms and residence halls are off limits for demonstrations. CSU President Amy Parsons encourages students to engage respectfully, saying, quote, "To our students, you are the heart of this university. The habits of listening, questioning, and engaging across differences that will build you here serve you for a lifetime." The university is also launching the Colorado Democracy Prize, which will reward student groups that host events promoting civil discourse, bridging divides, and thoughtful debate. The initiative aims to help students practice democratic engagement and make their voices heard, while maintaining a safe and orderly campus environment. The policy also provides guidance on chalking, amplified sound, and peaceful protests, and reiterates that any violence, threats, or damage to property will be handled through student conduct or legal measures.
I think it's bad. I think it's gross. I think it was passed through with maybe not malice, but it was passed through quietly without a period of review that is traditionally offered for big policy changes. Unilaterally, quietly, at the end of summer, and I dislike that.
CSU leaders say these measures strike a balance between open dialogue and community safety, ensuring the campus remains a place for learning and civic engagement. Now off to weather with Aubrey.
Thanks, Gigi. I'm Aubrey Francis, your weather anchor. Let's take a look at the current conditions. Right now it is sunny at 71 degrees. The sun is going to set at 6:51 p.m. Humidity is at 32%, and the wind speed is 7 miles per hour headed southeast. This week we saw dark skies followed by heavy rainstorms. Even when it was not a current downpour, the rain clouds loomed over CSU's campus, lying in wait until the next round began. While most students hurried to class for shelter, others, like this runner, were undeterred from their daily activities. Looking at our overnight lows, headed down that I-25 corridor, we have high 40s and low 50s with Denver at 52 degrees. Looking at the eastern plains, same with high 40s and low 40s again with Lyman at 43 degrees. And moving over to our western slopes, dropping significantly to the 30s and 40s with Craig at 37 degrees and Grand Junction, our outlier, at 54 degrees. Tomorrow's forecast will be cloudy with a high of 84 degrees and a low of 51 degrees. The sun's going to set a little earlier at 6:49 p.m. Humidity is at 35% and the wind speeds are northwest at 6 miles per hour. Looking at that 5-day forecast, we're looking at highs of 70s throughout the week and lows of 50s with sun and clouds transitioning throughout that week. That's all I have for you for weather, but don't go anywhere. Moving on, when we come back from our break, Maddie will fill us in on 2 hunters who were found dead in southern Colorado.
After 2 years?
You gotta be kidding me!
Okay, no.
Robbie! Seriously, do you have anything you can use against the dragon?
I can do fireball, that'll do a lot of damage.
Yeah, to all of us!
Well,
we're in a 4-foot group!
I'm sorry, what else do you want me to do?
Okay. Hold on. All right. Wizard. You gonna roll?
Two elk hunters were found dead in southern Colorado and were killed by lightning. Authorities say Andrew Porter and Ian Stasko were struck while hunting in the Rio Grande National Forest on September 12th. Their bodies were found 6 days later after a massive search took place. The coroner says the deaths were likely instant and to avoid taking shelter under isolated trees during a storm. Now off to sports with Payton Barill.
Thank you, Madison. I'm Payton Barill, here to give you the latest updates on Colorado State football. Saturday, September 20th, the Rams played at home hosting UTSA. After a no-scoring first quarter, the Roadrunners were the first to put some points on the scoreboard. Running back Robert Henry Jr. ran for 76 yards right through the Rams' defensive line to score the first touchdown, followed by a good kick from Michael Petro, putting UTSA up 7. Just after CSU nearly earned their first touchdown from tight end Rocky Beers. However, a flag was ruled and the Rams were forced to replay their second down. They ended up going for a 23-yard field goal kicked by Isaiah Hankins to put them on the board. With 3 minutes left in the second quarter, Petro secured a field goal for UTSA from 40 yards, making the score 10-3 going into the half. No points were added to the board in the third quarter, but CSU linebacker Robert Edmondson intercepted a nearly 65-yard pass thrown by Owen Peewee. By the fourth quarter, the Rams started to come back with a 10-yard drive from Taj Bullock to score their first touchdown. Tied 10-10 with the clock ticking, both teams looked to make aggressive and strategic plays. The first to succeed was UTSA with another touchdown from Henry Jr., this time in receiving a 74-yard pass from quarterback Owen McCone. Not long after, many were shocked while others were not to see quarterback for the Rams, Braden Fowler-Nicolosi, come out of the game, replaced by backup QB Jackson Brusso. In the nearly 4.5 minutes Brusso played, he managed 78 passing yards, including a 4-yard pass to Beers for a touchdown, which nearly tied the game. In the end, the Rams lost by a single point with a score of 17-16, making their overall record 1-2. Next up, the Rams will host Washington State this Saturday at Canvas Stadium for their State Pride game. Kickoff is at 5:30 in the evening, and you can tune in on Rams Radio Network or watch on CBS Sports Network. That's all for sports tonight, but I'll see you next Thursday for more.
August, the fire alarm system in Clark C building is currently out of service. Until repairs are completed, staff are patrolling the halls to monitor for any signs of fire. University officials say the situation is temporary and expect the system to be fully restored in the near future. But that's all we have for you tonight, Rams. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel for more content. Thank you for tuning in. Stay safe and have a great weekend.